We have started to record the most recent session of SPCH 1113, Introduction to Public Speaking, for the first summer session. The end is in sight, and ideally, it will be a positive conclusion to the term. It is Wednesday, June 26th, 2024. I have my YouTube channel on the screen for this reason. It's not unusual for those of you who are on Blackboard, in this case Blackboard Ultra, to lose access to the online course management system by, let's say, Friday of this week. Keep in mind that not only are all of the instructor course videos on Blackboard Ultra, they are also posted on my SAU Mass Communication website with that link available in Blackboard Ultra, but also right here, the playlist on my YouTube channel. Intentionally scroll down to Intro to Public Speaking Course Overview, which is available in an introductory section on Blackboard Ultra. So for any of you who need a refresher on informing or persuading or wildcard speech preparation, or you ever want to see what my positive constructive commentary was for your presentations and how you can continue to improve both during the first summer session and after the course officially concludes, everything is right here. And let me reinforce that element of positive constructive criticism. The only thing that's ever going to hold you back is time management, in addition to a lack of preparation or not paying attention to the little things: spelling, grammar, syntax, bullet points, video clips, images, photos, the overall storytelling ability in your slides that maximizes, if you're doing it properly, your continued abilities to remain extemporaneous and conversational. Why do we go through so much video playback? Not only because I'm a media person, because it's going to help you. I've told you on more than one occasion that the advantage of taking an online public speaking course is that you can really pick and choose what you think is the best representation of your stylistic approach for a particular assignment. Now that the wildcard speech days are here and you're going to be presenting them at the end of the week, it's the perfect opportunity to reflect on all of these videos or your classmates or from your cohorts in years gone by. And I have a number of presentations that I'm going to show you today about that to help you prepare, to get into the proper mindset to end on a high note, because that's the way that I approach this course. And it's also why I stress the importance of practice, attention to detail, taking all of the unknowns out of the equation, because that's going to, whether it's a public speaking course or anything else that you take at the college level, the ability to be successful with your GPA, but in this case, try to be an effective communicator and public speaker, which is why in a couple of moments, we're going to go back to examine previous self-evaluation speech critiques. Let's look at this playlist. Starting with the course overview, everything that we have done, including yesterday, is right here. Tons of examples of speeches, and all of yours broken down, oftentimes played almost twice in real time. Session 14, I have talked about quite a bit. 1 week ago today, I took the time to discuss in detail previous SAU self-evaluation speech critiques. We'll also be doing that in a moment. There is yesterday's class session. Scrolling up now, you'll see all of my courses from Summer 1, 2023, Summer 1, 2022, and directly above this, you see different examples starting Summer 1 of 2023 of wildcard speech videos. Keeping in mind that yesterday we were at my website, I have many more outlines with audio, and outlines with videos. So let's wrap it up here with a wildcard speech on how to make great coffee. Remember, all of this practice is just so vital for your long-term success. Take little bits and pieces from all of the videos that you see here that are on my website and from your demonstrative, persuasive, informative presentations, and also those of your classmates. I'm that glass half full person. Let's finish strong. We will transition to my alternate email address. I want to share 3 examples from Summer 1, 2023 of self-evaluation speech critiques. They can take 2 different forms. An email to me, in this case, it would be to my SAU email address, or if you want to be more formal and put it in a Word document, that's acceptable. I have both varieties that I'm going to show you over the next few minutes. Jalissa Oliveras, Summer 1, 2023. You have seen more than one of her presentations over the past few weeks. This is what she had to say. If you go back and look at previous course sessions, both with the grade book on Blackboard Ultra and looking at the syllabus, you know that with 100 points in the course, demonstrative, informative, persuasive, wildcard speeches, each worth 20 points, class participation, going to Blackboard Ultra, checking where the course videos are, looking for the research that's available there. But the other 10 points of the 100 in the course is a self-evaluation speech critique. Being selfish, how you have improved. Where are some of the dead spots? What is going to help you in the future? This is what Jalissa had to say 1 year ago this week. Dateline Wednesday, June 28th, 2023. Quote, starting this course, I believe to be good at presenting in front of a camera. I already believe to be good at public speaking in front of a live audience. However, I realized how much work I still had left for presenting in front of a camera. When I did the first speech, the demonstrative speech, I started my speech over at least 15 times trying to perfect the introduction or just stuttering over my words and getting upset that it was not perfect. I would not stop until I believed it was close enough to perfection. I would get really nervous to record my speech and feel the urge to have a live audience or a single person to feel comfortable going through the process. Now, on the last presentation of this class, the wildcard speech, I feel very comfortable with starting and going through the speech. I set aside some of my perfectionism to do my speech. I feel very proud each time I finish each speech and turn it in. I now have loads of fun doing my speeches. This class has helped me improve how I give presentations and how I even speak in general. Thank you for everything, Professor Reppert. What she says is not unusual. Now, I'm not going to take credit for it, but it's like anything else. The more that you practice, the better you'll be. How many times have you heard me say over the past 4 weeks that in my case, using Loom is a new technology? I started with my webcam on the far left-hand side of the screen, as you'll recall from the course overview. Now it's over on the right-hand side. I like the analogy of being on the right-hand side because it's similar to turning a page. And you're not going to find as much information or text to me as an instructor on the bottom right-hand side. What Jalissa says, as many of you, really hits the nerve in a good way. Let's move on. This is Abriana. You saw her yesterday with the evolution of The Sims 4 example of a wildcard speech. Again, 1 year ago this week. Quote for her self evaluation speech critique. Before starting this course, I was confident in my public speaking skills. However, during the course, I improved my speech preparation and execution. Usually, I get anxious and my hands shake uncontrollably before addressing an audience. But this course made it easy for me to deliver my speeches without feeling anxious. In my first speech, I did too much with visuals, which made it take an hour to prepare one slide. For the rest of my speeches, I focused more on my words than on videos. I selected topics relevant to pop culture and uniquely me, making it easier for everyone to relate. I enjoyed the topics I chose, and overall, my public speaking has improved a lot over the past 4 weeks. Without feeling anxious, I feel like I did a really good job. Go back to yesterday's class session, session 17, and watch Abriana's speech on the evolution of The Sims 4, then how I broke it down. She's not lying. She has so much information on all of her slides. It is so much easier to be extemporaneous when you have text or bullet points or images that give you the option once you go to that particular slide. You never know what you're going to be thinking, what's going to come out of your mouth. Now, think about what Jalissa had to say, where she would get frustrated or nervous. The same thing happens to me. It is not unusual in my case to start a second or a third take because in the first or second minute, I just might, to use a non academic term, have a brain cramp and feel like I'm about ready to swallow my tongue and I get angry, but in a constructive way. Where did I mess up? How can I improve? Because I want to be a quality extemporaneous speaker. The reason for me starting yesterday's class period, session 17, by evaluating the final 2 minutes of what we had done the day before. Did I practice what I preached with being extemporaneous, conversational, eye contact, trying to communicate clearly? The same thing happens with all of you. Our third and final presenter that we are going to see is Calandria. I have to open hers in a separate window. She is using an online version of a Word document. This is what Calandria had to say 1 year ago. Quote, virtually, I was anxious to start this session because I needed to learn how to express myself more effectively. I had a lot of thoughts in my mind saying it's going to be hard to manage the class, plus things going on in my life outside of being in this classroom. Thank you for this learning experience. It was mandatory. First, I did a wonderful job of communicating my ideas to my audience using a brief personality example in my demonstration speech, How to Make Scrambled Eggs. I'm also strong at going immediately into my talks and maintaining good eye contact. My flaws are that sometimes I rush instead of taking my time when presenting when I honestly intend to. But I don't need to rush because I want to get it done. It needs to be smooth. Otherwise, I may stumble when pronouncing words. For example, in my persuasive speech, taking a break from technology. I was nervous, as I typically am. I felt more at ease and maintained a decent, clear voice. She goes on. I aim to improve on taking my time and adding more personality. I want to feel as though I'm speaking with my audience as if I were speaking with a friend. I must say I did excellent not freezing up because that used to be a thing for me. And I'm so proud of myself that improved tremendously thanks to this class. Overall, I needed this class to overcome my fear of giving presentations in front of others. In order to speak in person for classes or even in my profession, I'll need to be more at ease and just take the time to ensure that my audience understands what I'm saying briefly. I'm going to miss this class since I learned so much in such a short amount of time, from eye contact and personality to using a loom, which was new to me and which I can apply in future classes, even though it was a little challenging. Every detail counts in a presentation since you never know what the audience will be looking for. It was a wonderful learning experience. So thank you so much, Professor, for being patient with me and giving me time to gain knowledge within this quick 4-week period. Attention to details matter, and patience matters. Having a good self-deprecating sense of humor matters. When you make a boo-boo, you'll probably laugh. You might be frustrated. You might be 2 or 3 minutes into a presentation. That happened to me when I was trying to record this session. Then you start to think, what did I do to mess up? It doesn't matter how old you are, whether you're a professor or whether you're a student, communicating online using the golf analogy, you get to take a mulligan and sometimes more than one. In a face-to-face circumstance, something may get messed up beyond your control. Being in an interactive classroom and the overhead projector doesn't work, or there's something wrong with your slides or something wrong with the computer. A lot of that is taken out of the equation here. So intentionally, 3 self-evaluation speech critiques in slightly different modes from students 1 year ago facing the same issues that you are now. You noticed what just happened to me. Occasionally, when you're speaking extemporaneously, not every syllable is going to come out of your mouth smoothly. But you get to a point where, you know what, 99% of this is pretty good. So let's move on regardless. And that's what I'm going to do. I have 5 examples of wildcard speeches that I am going to show you and record for the record. The first person you've seen previously. This is Matt Huffman. I'm waiting for the OK. Then I will share the tab. In Matt's case, I'm not going to put a full screen on for YouTube. He moves his visual around on the screen. And I would prefer, in this case, to stay in the bottom right-hand corner. A link to this speech is available on Blackboard Ultra. His wildcard topic is live streaming Hector High School football games, the Hector Wildcats. He talks about how he uses his broadcast experience to become a better public speaker. He talked about that to me during class, and he also discusses it to a degree in his self-evaluation speech critique. So, watch all of these videos. See how they have improved again with the closed captioning intentionally off. The ease in which they speak on camera, their improvement regarding their abilities to remain extemporaneous and conversational, with also a marked improvement in the quality of their storytelling abilities with their slideshow presentations. Our first wildcard speech of today is Matt Huffman, wildcard speech, Hector Wildcat Football, fall semester of 2020. Here it is.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Matt Huffman, and tonight I'm doing my wildcard speech on a behind the scenes look live stream edition. Myself and another gentleman that I have teamed up with, we do the live streaming for our local high school. So tonight I'm going to be giving you a rundown of everything that we use and how we put it together. And then at the end, close to the end of the speech, I will be showing a few clips of how everything looks when it's all together. But kind of want to start off first just showing you everything that we use. So the first thing I'm going to start off with is our audio. This is our Behringer Euphoria UM2 audio interface. It allows us to control all of the audio through this, and it allows us to use the wireless headsets that I'm talking on right now. That way we're not connected to anything. We can move around wherever we're at. I can control the volume. It also has a plug port on the back that if I wanted to put some headphones on and listen to our volume that way, I could do that. The next one is our Trevor wireless headsets. Like I said, it's what I'm talking on right now. And what these do is there's a jack that plugs into our audio interface. It comes with dual headsets, dual lapel mics. We like to use the headsets because it just the lapel mics, they pick up a lot of ambient noise. These allow us, since they're just right here at our mouth, allows us for everybody to hear us a lot better. The next thing we're going to do, we're going to move on to our HDMI capture card. What this does is it hooks up from the camcorder into the computer, and it turns the gameplay signals from the camera into digital data. Next we're going to talk about is our camera. Our camera, we run a Panasonic HCV180K Full HD camcorder. It records in 1080p and has a 50 times zoom, so we can really, on the football field, we can really zoom in and pick up a lot of the action. Yeah, if there's a fumble or anything like that, we can zoom in and really pick it up. It also has some BSI sensors which allow us to film in low light. Sometimes at different stadiums, different places that we go to, the light's just not that great. So this allows us to pick up more of that light to where we can make a better picture. The next thing we're going to talk about is our software. We run OBS, which is Open Broadcaster Software. It allows us to switch between different scenes, different graphics, different cameras, different audio. If I wanted to run audio from the camcorder, I could do that, or from the microphones, I could do that. Or as you've been seeing, I've been switching back and forth from my laptop camera to the camcorder. So it makes it great. We can set up multiple cameras and get different angles, and I love that aspect of it. It also allows us to record and stream straight to Facebook, YouTube, anywhere we want to live stream to, and that makes it great right there. And the other thing is it's free. So now I'm going to show you some clips. This was from Friday night, this last Friday night, from our game here at Hector. The first one is going to be our defense, and then the second one will be our offense. So hope you enjoy.
Can really change the momentum of a game right here. A big fourth down. You're in the fourth quarter. You got to lead. Find a way to get off the field. Get your offense the ball. See if your offense can grow down. Put some more.
Because our offense has been playing awesome.
They have. They've been playing much better this second half. Coach has made some adjustments. He's short. He is short.
Number 3,
One
Ty
play
Day.
by Ty Day. And that is going to be a turnover.
That's going to be a turnover on down. Wildcat football.
Here.
Tune in Monday night for that. All right, Wildcat fans, here we go.
1 yard is all.
4th and 1. And that's the ball game.
Oh,
And he's gone.
Good.
Touchdown, Wildcats. Wow. Tune in Monday night.
I'm not sure what happened to Matt's audio whenever he came back from the highlight, but that's where, in any of your presentations, as we've seen in real time during the first summer session from your classmates, the ability to incorporate video, if appropriate, is a very nice way, not only to add interactivity, but it brings an outside source into the presentation to give you not only added source credibility, but also it's something that gives you a breather. You're not necessarily speaking for 6 minutes. You may be speaking for 5.5, and bringing in a little bit of video shows your expertise in not only slide construction, but also of the subject matter. Let's go back, and again, leaving the closed captioning off, but we'll play that video one more time so you can see the sports clip that is representative of what the production team is doing for Hector Wildcat football. Nice touch.
At Hector, the first one is going to be our defense, and then the second one will be our offense. So hope you enjoy.
Can really change the momentum of a game right here. A big 4th down. You're in the 4th quarter. You got to lead. Find a way to get off the field. Get your offense the ball. See if your offense can grow down. Put some more.
Because our offense has been playing awesome
They have.
this half.
They've been playing much better this second half. Coach has made some adjustments.
He's short.
He is short.
Number 3,
One
Ty
play
Day.
by Ty Day. And that is going to be a turnover.
That's going to be a turnover on down. Wildcat football.
Here.
Tune in Monday night for that. All right, Wildcat fans, here we go.
1 yard is all.
4th and 1. And that's the ball game.
Oh,
And he's gone.
Good.
Touchdown, Wildcats. Wow. Tune in Monday night.
But Matt's enthusiasm for the topic and his expertise come through. If I wanted to be a stickler in a positive way, it appears as if he forgot to take his webcam and swing it around. Notice the Wildcat logo is facing right on his shirt and on his cap. It appears to be facing left. It's a small thing. As we most often do, slide management, just very quickly, checking all of his transitions with audio, video, any kind of transitions, what kind of digital camera is being used, what type of software is being used as part of the production, then getting into the video clips, and the conclusion. Brisk pacing. Think about the difference whenever you go back and look at some previous course video where I've shown Matt the level of comfort that everyone has, and it is repetition. So like I said yesterday, the camera is your friend if you're well prepared. Not a surprise, he earned an A. Our second presenter is someone you have also seen, and I have discussed. This is Madison Pogue. All of her presentations using the 30-day free subscription to Loom. We're right around the 5-minute mark. Think about what Matt was just doing with his inserts with webcam in a slightly different format than Loom, but still acceptable, as opposed to what Madison is doing here. She's always in the left-hand corner, like Matt, well composed, well lit. I think what I would do, though, you have two different versions of circular webcams on Loom. I would always go with what I have here, the bigger version, so you can really highlight yourself. It all depends upon when you're taking the course, because there's always going to be variations in whatever video recording software you use. Our second presenter of the day, with examples that you can use for your own research, Madison Pogue from spring 2021, discussing what makes a sport a sport.
Hi, my name is Madison Pogue, and this is my wildcard speech on what makes a sport a sport. I've always grown up around sports, so this has always kind of been subconsciously brewing in my head, so I'm really excited to talk about it today. So, a little disclaimer before we get started. If you believe that something is a sport that I do not, or vice versa, it's okay. It's all completely based on what you believe or what you feel is a sport or what is not a sport. Don't let me tell you what is or what is not. But I'm going to explain myself on why I feel the way that I feel about certain sports, and I just hope that you will hear me out. And yeah. So I'm going to start off right off the bat giving you my opinion on what is a sport and what is not a sport. So some sports include basketball, baseball, track, football, all of that sorts of stuff, and then non-sports. So this includes cheerleading, e-gaming, and gymnastics, which will probably make some people upset. I'm going to explain myself, but yeah, those were the first three that came to my head, so I had to put them on here. But if you don't know what e-gaming is, it's where you literally are playing video games. And some people consider that a sport. If you do, I'm not saying anything bad about that. I'm just saying I'm going to explain why I don't personally believe that that should be considered a sport. So the three main points that I'm going to be talking about are uniforms, fact versus opinion, and winners versus losers. So these are just the three main characteristics I feel like each sport should have, and I'm going to go in more depth now. So uniforms. This is super basic. Even things that aren't sports have uniforms, but I just thought that this was actually a key component in sports. So uniforms, everyone should look alike that is on the same team. So shirts, pants, shorts, socks, sometimes hats. I have a couple examples. The top is a baseball team and the bottom is a soccer team. Those are just some examples of uniforms for some teams, and those are professional teams. So you can kind of see just like different examples of uniforms, but I feel like everyone should look the same or at least similar so that everyone can know that they're a part of a team and that they are together and that they are competing together. So we're moving on to based on fact. This is the main point that I feel like is what makes me think, is that a sport or is it not? So I personally believe that opinion should not be the main focus when it comes to who wins or who loses a competition. So, for example, in track, if someone crosses the finish line first, there is someone there tracking the time that it takes them to get from point A to point B. So, if someone finishes first, they can go and they can look at the times and compare the first person across, the second person across, the third person, and so on and so forth, and prove that the first person across the finish line won over all the other people because they had a faster time than everyone else. So on the flip side of that, gymnastics and cheerleading. So we're going to take cheerleading, for example. When they cheer and when they stunt and all of that stuff at competitions and everything like that, they are getting judged based on the judges' opinions on whether they're better at certain things than other people, which I feel like is based solely on opinion, or at least mostly on opinion. So I feel like that kind of disqualifies it from being a sport compared to other things such as baseball, basketball, track, volleyball, and those sorts of sports. And then another kind of basic thing, kind of go along with the uniforms, is that there should be a winner and there should be a loser. Competition is a part of sports. You need to compete to win, and that should be a big part of sports. I've always grown up with the thought process of everyone cannot be a winner. So you want to strive to be the best you can be so that you can be the winner, because no one likes to lose. And that's just what sports are about. So yeah. Thank you so much for listening, and I hope I didn't make anyone too upset.
She's really doing a good job with manufacturing every last second to her ability to 5 minutes. With some versions of Loom, if you want to use the timer at 5 minutes and count backwards, as she was 3.5 years ago, that's fine. She also has it in the proper location. Bottom left-hand corner for the webcam. Then she places her timer here, so it's right within her line of vision. So just like you would if you were doing a broadcast, they're going to count you down 10, 9, 8, 7, 6 with the headphones. And you saw my headphones when Matt's presentation was on. His audio was a little bit lower. You could still hear it, but I wanted to double check to make certain that all of you can hear it clearly on the Loom recording whenever I post it online later. In her case, is there going to be some debate or hot takes as to what makes a sport a sport? She has one graphic that includes competitive cheerleading and gymnastics, both being on the side, in her view, potentially of not being a sport. That's where you get some discussion. Title slide, everyone, as you've seen during the week, no closed captioning. They're all speaking in complete sentences pretty much. Very attractive title slide. What makes a sport a sport? If you do it this way, it gives you the opportunity to fill up a few extra seconds. Where if you want to talk about what makes a sport, or throw in personal experiences for 10 to 15 seconds before you even move on to the next slide, that's okay. But just look at this aesthetically, like the title slide for Hector High School football with Matt. Nothing calls attention to itself. Nothing is sloppy. Nothing is misspelled. It works within his and her relative storytelling motif, depending upon what slideshow they're using. The disclaimer, eye contact, well lit, well framed. So we move on from the disclaimer to the examples of sports and non-sports. Very much of a concentrated effort on her part to discuss as much of this on the slide as possible. Examples of what might be a sport or a non-sport in the eyes of some. What are the three main characteristics of a sport with different graphics? The uniforms or as some people might say, you're not necessarily always cheering for the athletes. You may be just cheering for the cloth or the uniforms. Based on fact, look at the expressive nature she has on the slide with hand gestures. Whether we're face-to-face or online in terms of instruction for this class, I don't talk about hand gestures a lot. I did a little yesterday to the extent that you don't want to be overly expressive because then people will pay attention to your hands. But if it's natural and it is somewhat understated, that's fine. Moving down to her next point, looking for her next slide. Winners and losers. Let's go to the last 45 seconds or so and watch her wrap up the speech. Pay attention to, again, her extemporaneous improvement.
It from being a sport compared to other things such as baseball, basketball, track, volleyball, and those sorts of sports. And then another kind of basic thing, kind of go along with the uniforms, is that there should be a winner and there should be a loser. Competition is a part of sports. You need to compete to win, and that should be a big part of sports. I've always grown up with the thought process of everyone cannot be a winner. So you want to strive to be the best you can be so that you can be the winner, because no one likes to lose. And that's just what sports are about. So yeah. Thank you so much for listening, and I hope I didn't make anyone too upset.
Again, outstanding time management. She's right at 4 minutes and 59 seconds, and her timer is at 0. If you're using Loom and you want the timer on the screen, fine. If you ever use, and I mentioned this during the first week of the course, Microsoft SharePoint, it gives you 15 minutes and your webcam is a slight bit bigger. I was not crazy about the technology. I like Loom. It's not perfect, but it's not bad. 2 excellent examples so far, and we still have 3 more. Our first presenter was about 6.5 minutes. Madison is 5. This one from Chloe is a little over 4, and we will put her tab on the screen. Only going back 1 year. You've seen her before. I read her self-evaluation speech critique 1 week ago today. She makes the minimum time of 4 minutes, and with the Independence Day holiday coming up, last year she wanted to talk about how you can protect pets against fireworks, particularly with the acute hearing that dogs have. It can really affect them, like thunderstorms. Here is Chloe.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Chloe Ray. I am a pre-vet major here at SAU, and I thought, what is more fun than fireworks for my wild card speech and presentation? Now, with fireworks comes loud noises, and pets may not like these loud noises, so I have offered some helpful tips on how to protect your pets against these fireworks. Now, in this presentation, I focused on 3 tips. There are more than 3 tips out there to keep your pets safe on this 4th of July weekend, but for my presentation, these 3 tips are the biggest to me. I think they are the most important to make you and your pet comfortable and have the most wonderful 4th of July weekend. Now, to kick off this presentation, as I said, 4th of July is just right around the corner, and with 4th of July, you have fireworks. You have a lot of loud noises, you have firecrackers, you have everything that we enjoy, but our pets may not enjoy. Fireworks or loud noises can cause our dogs to become very anxious, and when your dog is anxious, the thought of fleeing is the first thought in their head. The thought of running away, the thought of hiding, the thought of going and doing, and not sitting still. They do not feel comfortable in these environments, and I'm going to show you ways to protect them and make them more comfortable. There are many ways to make your pet less anxious, but today I just picked 3 main topics to focus on, which is putting them in a familiar place, like your house, or if they have a kennel. If your dog sleeps in a kennel, that'll be where they're most comfortable at. Or in your room, if your dog sleeps with you in your bed, put them in your room, tuck them away. Number 2 is keep them away from any windows or doors. Being against windows or doors, they can feel the vibrations and they are able to hear the loud noises better. This causes them to be more anxious. And you can also medicate your pet. There's different medications to give your pet that can help them calm down a lot. Now, with putting your pet in a familiar place, this allows them to be more at ease and more at peace, just like it would for us. When we travel home on the weekends and we go see our family, we tend to feel more at ease and at peace. And it's just the same with our pets. Now, if you go down to your neighbors down the road and say you bring your pet with you, they're in an unfamiliar place. This can cause the anxiety and the fear levels to rise, so it's best to just keep them at your household if that is possible, just to keep them a little bit more comfortable. Our number 2 helpful tip of the day is keep them away from windows or doors. When your pet is near a window or a door, it allows them to hear the noises and feel the vibrations of the loud fireworks outside. This can cause their stress and fear levels to rise and cause them to want to flee. We do not want our pets to flee or run away. And having your pet in a room without any windows or door, that is more ideal in this situation. If you have a room, say you have a bathroom that doesn't have any windows, that is kind of tucked away in the middle of your house, it will also help keep your pet more at ease in these situations. Third tip of the day is medicating your pet. This is probably the most important slide of this presentation. The medications will allow your pet to be more at ease and will also allow you to have more fun in your 4th of July activities. There's different medications that you can get all from your local vet clinic. You can get Trazodone, you can get Benadryl, you can get Xanax, you can even get the Benadryl over the counter. It's the same Benadryl that we would take if we were to have an allergic reaction. This gives a sedation-like feeling to the pets and allows them to be more calm and at ease while you are having fun with your 4th of July events. This now sums up my presentation on how to protect your pets against fireworks. Remember to keep your loving companion in the back of your mind while you're out having fun with your family and friends. Go back and think about the 3 helpful tips that I discussed in this speech. Put them in a familiar place, like a kennel or your room or anywhere that your dog is familiar with on a daily basis. Try to keep them away from windows or doors. This allows them to feel the vibrations and the intense loud noises that are going to be caused by the fireworks. And you can even try medicating your pet if that's what works best for you. These 3 tips can help you and your pet this holiday weekend. It allows you and your pet to be more comfortable and at ease. Thank you for listening, and I hope you have a happy and blessed 4th of July weekend.
In her case, on occasion, there might be a like or an but you really have to listen closely. With Matt, discussing Hector High School football. As we just saw with Madison on what makes a sport, here with Chloe, as we go back to our title slide, protecting pets against fireworks. My perspective as a professor is going to be different than you might have when you're evaluating yourself regarding the self-evaluation speech critique. There is so much improvement with, and you know this triad by now, content, delivery, and visuals. Same thing here. Her speech, the wild card, is a bit shorter than what she's done earlier in the term, but her pacing is picked up. On occasion, when you're watching me speak in videos, you can tell that I am being faithful to the concept of being extemporaneous because my pacing gets to be a bit slower. And when I'm trying to think of something to say, I don't want the awkward pauses in between thoughts to be filled by a filler word or a vocalic. In her case, and the others that you've seen and will see in this course session, their pacing is really fast because they know what's coming up in the slides, they practiced it, and the extemporaneous quality is going to flow, and you're just going to, like the pecani sauce ads, pick up the pace. And that's what she does here, examining her slides. Title slide, protecting pets against fireworks, gives her an opportunity, like you just saw with Madison, to spend some time talking about it. She had 36 seconds of her speech with the title slide before transitioning into the second slide. There's many ways allowing your pet to be more comfortable. Concentration, obvious in the bottom portion of the screen with her webcam. Ways to make your pet less anxious. A holiday style is consistent throughout, including number 1, put them in a familiar place. Number 2, keep them away from windows or doors. And number 3, medicate your pet. Put them in a familiar place. That was explained well. Keep them away from windows or doors. The sound can reverberate, obviously, near a window, and they may want to, as she says here, to quote, flee the area. Something that many of us who have pets can empathize with, especially using a medication like Benadryl. Medicating your pet may be the most important slide of this presentation. Allowing your pet to be at ease. I'm glad that she mentioned that and images of what she is discussing. Never assume when you're discussing any topic, people can visualize the images of trazodone or Xanax or Benadryl, even though some of these may be available at a Walmart or at any type of discount or pharmaceutical operation. Then we go on to trying to see where her next slide is. Her thank you slide, her final 30 seconds.
Fun with your family and friends. Go back and think about the 3 helpful tips that I discussed in this speech. Put them in a familiar place, like a kennel or your room or anywhere that your dog is familiar with on a daily basis. Try to keep them away from windows or doors. This allows them to feel the vibrations and the intense loud noises that are going to be caused by the fireworks. And you can even try medicating your pet if that's what works best for you. These 3 tips can help you and your pet this holiday weekend. It allows you and your pet to be more comfortable and at ease. Thank you for listening, and I hope you have a happy and blessed 4th of July weekend.
I do wish she would do the 1001, 1002, 1003 silently before pausing, but that's okay. Excellent job all during the week by all of the students with previous examples of wildcard speeches, and it stands to reason. Everything you've done in a concentrated period of time, now you have the opportunity to wrap up the term by talking about something that you feel comfortable with, that may not necessarily, and this is a good thing, feel like work, because you're putting all of this together and all of a sudden you have a slideshow. Our 4th presentation is going to be the longest, and you've seen her before, making certain that I can see myself with the tab. This is 3 years ago. You've seen a previous presentation from Sierra Putney on trying not to mimic celebrity lifestyles. Her speech is close to 9 minutes, but as I always say, you can have a longer speech and it may not necessarily drag. Sierra's wildcard speech from Summer 1, 2021, a guide for sensitive readers and movie watchers. It's fascinating. Here it is.
Hello, my name is Sierra Putney. Today I'll be presenting my wildcard speech, which is a guide for sensitive readers and movie watchers. So the idea to do my speech on this topic came from my remembering when I was in maybe 1st to 6th grade, and we would have these scholastic book orders. And there would be sections in this book order that would have like sad books. And these orders would come with a box of tissue because the books were sad. So it made me think, if you could get a box of tissue, why can't you also get a guide? And so this is where this presentation comes in handy. I, too, am someone who gets sensitive or tearful whenever I read a good book or watch a good movie. And so I know the feeling, and I know there are other people out there that feel the same whenever they do the same thing. The thing is, sometimes you're on the run, and throughout the day, you might want to read that book or watch that movie. And so you might find that you're in a public place and a scene comes on, or you start reading a scene that elicits a lot of emotion in you. And so I was thinking, what are some tips that I could give in those types of situations, or what can I do to help people better navigate those type of situations, being a quote-unquote sensitive person? And so this is what I came up with. So my first tip relates to watching movies in public places, and it is watch the movie or movies with someone who is talkative and or logical. And the reason I say this is because someone who's talkative and logical can usually reason themselves out of just about any type of feeling. You know, they're the type of people that complain about how inaccurate something is. Like, you could either be annoyed by this, or you'll be like, you know what, they're kind of right. And you know, you keep those emotions at bay whenever watching the movie. The next thing I would say is redirect your attention. And sometimes whenever I'm watching a movie that's kind of sad, I'll look at the corner of the screen, or look up, or look down, or take a new interest in the carpet, you know, something I've never actually looked at before, because I'm trying to put new thoughts in my head to overcome the sad ones that resulted from watching the movie. The next thing I would say is mimic the feelings of those around you. You could say this is reading the room. So basically look at those around you and just absorb that energy. The next thing I would say is in class or in situations that are set up similarly, so you have rows, then you might want to sit in the back, you know, so that if you do cry, you can wipe your eyes and wipe your nose without people looking back at you. The next set of tips pertains to reading in public. So the first tip I would give is join a book club. And I say this for the same reason that I said the talkative and logical friend and the movies related tips. And this is because, you know, you'll focus more on details and the why of something rather than the actual feelings within the situation. I think that's good because it allows you to examine things more, you know, closely, and use that brain of yours instead of just thinking purely with your heart. The next thing I would say is take a break and read some nonfiction books. Nonfiction covers a wide variety of content. If you're worried about, like, you know, not finding something that you like in nonfiction, I would just say, like, take a common thing, your fiction readings, and apply that to nonfiction. So let's say that you're reading about Italian something in your fiction readings, then maybe you want to look up Italian culture or Italian cuisine in your nonfiction readings. The next thing I would say is have some self-control. Like, if you know you can't handle it, put the book down. And I know how hard that can be because I hate quitting a book right in the middle of a scene. I would rather wait until the chapter's over. But if you know you can't handle it, put the book down. The next thing I would say is redirect your attention, like, you know, in the movie set of tips. Maybe you're in a park and you're reading a book and something sad comes up. Maybe an important side character that you really like just died. Look at the trees, you know, admire the grass. Just different things to just take your mind off of it. Put new images and thoughts in your mind instead of the ones that you were thinking while reading the book. Crying is how your heart speaks when your lips can't explain the pain you feel. I put this quote in here because I wanted to point how important it is that we show emotion, it's not good to let those emotions build up. So I didn't make this presentation to tell people not to cry. Crying is actually good for you. You feel more relieved after doing it, and also it keeps you from just stacking up pent up emotions that could lead to damaged immune systems. With that said, here are some recommendations that I think will give you a good cry. Starting off with movies, we have Isle of Dogs, and this is about a Japanese boy who goes to find his dog after dogs have been banished to this isle. Next movie is Water for Elephants. If you're someone who is very sensitive to animal cruelty and you seek justice when it happens, then this movie is really good for you. And the next movie is The Titanic. It doesn't need much of an explanation. We all know it's a classic. Now here are some book recommendations. Heartless is by Marissa Mayer, and I read this book. The first time I read this book, I had skipped to the end and kind of ruined the ending for myself. But it's actually a good book, and I think a lot of what's in the middle matters a lot more. The next book is a post-war novel, and it's about a man of two faces. It's really insightful about the Vietnam War if you're looking for that type of information. The next one is The Kite Runner. We read this year. It was one of those books that I thought teachers over exaggerated about liking, but I actually really did like it. It's a really good book, mainly about the relationship between two boys. It has a split setting between Afghanistan and America, and it's very interesting in that aspect. I definitely recommend that. The last are relief books and movies, and they're just movies that will take some of the edge off of all that emotion you'll be experiencing after reading the previous books and movies I mentioned. So the first one is Boss Baby, and you can just look at the cover and know it's nothing but laughs and giggles. And the next one is a book called Meet Cute, and it's just a collection of short stories about how people come together in very unexpected ways and they instantly connect. So that concludes my presentation. Thank you for watching.
And thank you, Sierra, for giving a little bit of air at the end of your presentation. What you have seen throughout the first summer session, you can have speeches of varying lengths that can be equally effective with faster pacing, and they don't drag. I intentionally have included this week wildcard speeches of varying lengths. Some this evening with the 5-minute limit with a 30-day subscription to Loom. Matt's was closer to 7. This one closer to 9. Now, occasionally on Loom, there can be time discrepancies. On occasion, you'll see me sneaking up with a peek to see where the total time is. So her presentation is actually 8:45, but it's more than 10 minutes on Loom. I don't know why there is a difference, but checking out, as with everyone else, the storytelling ability slide by slide. In her case, as opposed to what we just saw with Chloe, who had more than 30 seconds to discuss her first slide, Sierra has a shorter transition into discussing her credentials, with the first bullet point being that she is highly sensitive towards great books and films. Check out her eye contact. As I often say, it's not unusual for those who are truly extemporaneous, not reading off a teleprompter like a television news anchor, to do this. They're not checking the weather. They're focused on what they want to say. It's not unusual for a man or woman to look off into the distance, or especially look up like this. For some reason, it's the eureka moment verbally, and then all of a sudden, it continues. But as you know, headline, bullet points, images give you a variety of options from an extemporaneous standpoint to go in any way you want with a guide for sensitive readers and movie watchers. Tips for watching movies when you're in the company of others: 4 bullet points, 4 images, talk about anything she wants. As you've seen with everyone so far this week, really solid improvement, focusing on what they want to say, no real breaks of thought. I've talked about being smooth. I've talked about the quicker pacing, but being smooth, just understanding where you are with a particular point or points is crucial to your overall success. She transitions into tips for reading in public. Again, multiple bullet points, join a book club, or take a break and read some nonfiction books, or exercise self-control. Don't keep reading it if you know you can't handle it at that moment, or redirect your attention. And how does she buttress her text with the images at the bottom, and most importantly in this case, not only traditional research from books or online sources, but research for a wildcard speech that may be based on your experiences. Transitioning into our next slide, a visual: crying is how your heart speaks, even when your lips can't explain the pain you feel. Then movie recommendations. And it looks like different slides are popping up on the screen. So you have book recommendations, 1, 2, 3. If that's the way you want to approach it here or in another course, putting up different pieces of graphics up on the screen, that's fine. In the early days in a face-to-face class, it would not be unusual for students using Microsoft PowerPoint to have all of the bells and whistles where the slides would turn around and do all kinds of things. That's not necessary here. But for Sierra, going from one book to a second to a third works. Let's, from this point, listen to the last minute of her speech. How is she going to, as I always say, or often say, wrap this up into a neat rhetorical bow for a conclusion?
It's a really good book, mainly about the relationship between two boys. It has a split setting between Afghanistan and America, and it's very interesting in that aspect. I definitely recommend that. The last are relief books and movies, and they're just movies that will take some of the edge off of all that emotion you'll be experiencing after reading the previous books and movies I mentioned. So the first one is Boss Baby, and you can just look at the cover and know it's nothing but laughs and giggles. And the next one is a book called Meet Cute, and it's just a collection of short stories about how people come together in very unexpected ways, and they instantly connect. So that concludes my presentation. Thank you for watching.
Now she's done with the speech. She still has 2 seconds to play with. I'll go 1. Her thoughtfulness and likability are radiating through the webcam. her gravitas, her source credibility as a speaker. Can you tell that I'm on your side? I want you to succeed. And she does. Demonstrative, informative, persuasive, wild card. What you see with Sierra and our other speakers so far with one to go are representative of the extra time and effort that you take outside of class to construct speeches in such a way that maximize your verbal acuity and also your storytelling ability. There are so many more elements that go into it with the SAU speech critique, but we'll save that for tomorrow. Excellent job. Our final presenter, keeping in mind that Sierra was 3 years ago this week, for our final presenter, Gabriel, we're going back 2 years as we share his tab. I don't think we've seen him during the term. One of his classmates you did see with a persuasive speech last week on why the moon landing couldn't be faked. But this is Gabriel, and he's going to wrap things up for us during class session 18 by talking in his wildcard speech on the benefits of playing an instrument right under 5 minutes on Loom. Here we go.
Hello, my name is Gabriel Reyna Garcia. I will be giving my wildcard speech on the benefits of playing an instrument. This is for class SPCH 1113 for the summer 1 session. First off, learning to play an instrument enhances your team skills. It increases your time management, your perseverance and patience, which will be needed whenever you learn a new instrument, learn a new piece, or even just continue to play an old piece that you previously know. It also increases your coordination, which is very helpful whenever you're in band or just trying to march. And then it also increases your responsibility. It sharpens your concentration, which is also needed for just playing a piece in general. And it also makes you not mess up as often. It increases your subject skills, as in math. It increases your ability, and studies have shown that students who play an instrument are better off on the grades than those who don't. It also increases your reading and comprehension skills as you have to read the music. It also improves your overall actual reading skills, as in words. In a study published in the journal Psychology of Music, children exposed to a multi-year program of music tuition involving training and increasingly complex rhythmic, tonal, and practical skills display superiority, which means they just got better grades and better academics than those who didn't. Social skills. Your social skills will enhance, promotes your social skills and bonds with others. You can talk to more people with different things and different genres of music, or even people may come up to you and ask you about the things you play, the instrument you play, the music you play. It also increases your listening skills, which is a crucial part of any conversation, regardless of anything. And it also reduces stage fright, which is also hand in hand with communication. It makes you feel better and overall makes your conversations go more smoothly and you won't be as burned out as much. It enhances your body. Music increases blood flow to your brain, which can make you more productive. You can get more things done. Also makes you play better. Your respiratory system gets better, especially if you have asthma. But this one depends, especially if you play like a piano or guitar, that won't help much. But if you play something like the trumpet or saxophone that requires more air, that will obviously help you more and make you healthier. It increases your memory. It increases your memory through memorizing notes, rhythms, or even whole pieces. This is certainly true, especially if you're in band or concert band. But most importantly, it enhances you yourself. It teaches you discipline and it promotes happiness to you and those around you. Music in general just makes everyone happy and also teaches you discipline through patience and perseverance. Like said before, you just have to stick with it for as long as you can, and you'll eventually enjoy it more and more. It also reduces stress and depression. I know this has been a main topic for a lot of our speeches that we have seen previously, and I think playing an instrument would definitely help with that. And creativity. It increases your creativity, not only while playing an instrument, but also outside in the real world, like whenever you're creating projects for school or even your workplace. It may give you more ideas for your class, or even if you're a teacher. I think sorry, these qualities that music gives you are going to enhance your life overall and make you a better person. Here's a list of my sources, just a quick one or two sources, not many. Thank you. I hope this inspired you to try picking up an instrument. I myself play the trumpet, which I've been playing for about 7 years now, and I enjoy very much. And then right now, actually, I'm trying to learn to play the piano and then the guitar. I haven't gone far much, but I think it's getting there. And every day I just take pride and joy in what I'm doing with these instruments. And I hope you can try and pick one up too. Thank you.
It really is fascinating the topic selections that you have all along the way in a basic public speaking course. I had mentioned a few weeks ago a shameless plug that for those of you who stay at SAU, spring of 2025, I will be teaching an advanced public speaking course tentatively scheduled Monday, Wednesday from 1:10 until 2:30. It's nice to include Gabriel in this class because he is representative of what students are doing during the summer, the continual improvement from one speech to the next. Let's look at his slide progression. Similar, starting off today with Matt, you have Gabriel using a headset. Sometimes that can mess up your audio or make it sound a little bit differently than people who are communicating into a webcam. But whatever technology you feel comfortable with is certainly acceptable. And he has a uniform background, ironically, that matches a color palette in his slides. Benefits of playing an instrument, and then we move on to team skills, perseverance, patience, time management obviously is important in music like it is in public speaking, and how it sharpens your concentration. I would say this, whenever his slides were full screen, always as much as possible enhance your visual by, as mentioned previously, trying to take that and make it as big as possible so we don't have to squint to see you, and if possible, get a little bit closer to the webcam. Think about what Madison was doing earlier, where literally her face fills up the camera. Had no bearing on his grade, but if you can make this a little bit bigger, that would be great. Then we move on beyond team skills, enhance to math and reading and comprehension with the psychology of music journal quotation on quote children exposed to a multi-year program of music tuition involving training in increasingly complex rhythmic, tonal, and practical skills display superiority. So this has two different elements of public speaking behind it: informative, learning about music, and persuasive, how, as he has with his headline, how your subject skills can be increased. Social skills being enhanced. Oftentimes, being in a band, getting rid of stage fright, certainly relevant in this class, even though being online and face to face are two different challenges. how it enhances your body, including music increases blood flow to your brain, the respiratory system will get better, and it can increase memory. His storytelling is quite impressive here. Minimal text with the bullet points, nice visuals, gives him an opportunity to maintain eye contact and discuss why it is beneficial to play an instrument. It enhances you, and he also has sources, including Science Daily, during his concluding slide. Let's go just a little bit further and pick up his last 30 seconds.
Thank you. I hope this inspired you to try picking up an instrument. I myself play the trumpet, which I've been playing for about 7 years now, and I enjoy very much. And then right now, actually, I'm trying to learn to play the piano and then the guitar. I haven't gone far much, but I think it's getting there. And every day, I just take pride and joy in what I'm doing with these instruments. And I hope you can try and pick one up too. Thank you.
Other than making his webcam a little bit bigger, Gabriel does a really nice job. Again, I have the perspective as faculty to see the improvement, especially with delivery, the level of confidence that all of you provide. So the analogy works with public speaking and stage fright and what Gabriel was talking about in one of his earlier slides. There it is, just luck that I found it. Stage fright reduction, the third bullet point. We're going to conclude for the evening. I started recording a little bit later in the day by going to Blackboard Ultra. I believe this will be in the professor's mode after I share this with you. But while we're still recording, let's go to the student preview mode. And we will start the preview. I've done this in previous classes. The only difference was instead of Blackboard Ultra, it was Blackboard, and instead of Loom, I was using Blackboard Collaborate Ultra Video. But let's work backwards. There's the grade book. I have had students indicate they could not immediately access their scores on Blackboard Ultra. This is a new technology. They're still working out the bugs. And if you have a problem accessing your speech, and everything that you've done for me that we've discussed during an instructor course video has been graded and is posted, let me know and I'll double check. All of your speeches are worth 20 points. Self-evaluation speech critique, which we've gone into detail 2 consecutive Wednesdays, is worth 10. Class participation is worth 10. And as you know from the syllabus, we're on the 90, 80, 70 schedule. Then to announcements. You've seen this on many occasions. Thursday instructor course videos will be recorded and posted in the evenings, weeks 2, 3, 4, and 5, to include all graded speeches for that week. Send them to my SAU email address no later than Thursday, June 27 at 5:30 p.m. for the wildcard speech videos. I'll talk about that in a moment. With some students having connectivity issues or not being able to send something as an attachment the way that they want, I want to try to allay any fears that you have, but I'll do that as we conclude the class session. Then with content. Remember, for your benefit, the instructor video welcoming you to the course, also available on my YouTube channel. The module overview, basically that this is week 5, which is wildcard week. and then instructor information with a link to my website, with a link to my YouTube channel, and my business card in case there's any emergency. But my SAU email address, I suppose the ultimate emergency, you would send me a message to Blackboard Ultra. The syllabus, the itinerary, the speech schedule, the speech critique, which we'll look at tomorrow, Loom, or possibly Slides Go. The instructor course videos with links to my YouTube channel. Today will be right here. So check that out in more than one location, including my website. Previous examples of wildcards are at the top, with one example officially here from the last 8 times I have taught the course. From Summer 1, 2023 to Spring 2020. That's all I want on the screen right now are the examples of wildcards. And finally, current examples tracking 3 of your classmates with their persuasive, informative, and demonstrative presentations. I'll scroll up to the top and make my concluding remarks. I reserve the right over the weekend, even though tomorrow, session 19, is officially our last class session. I reserve the right to add a bonus session, probably recorded on Sunday, that includes any leftover presentations, informative, persuasive, wild card, or examining self-evaluation speech critiques in class that for one reason or another, students could not submit any earlier. I will mention this at the beginning of class tomorrow, session 19, again officially our last class session. If the past is any indicator, fall, spring, summer, final grades on Campus Connect are usually due Monday at 10 a.m. So even though technically we're done Thursday, June 27th, grades will not be officially due until over the weekend. So if any of you have any issues, always make certain that worst case scenario, I receive a leftover informative, persuasive, or wildcard speech by late Sunday afternoon. If I do add a bonus session, session 20, it will probably be called Course Summary, because I have an additional video this term on Blackboard Ultra and my YouTube channel and my website, which is called Course Overview. I want to be as fair as possible in making certain that everything that you give me is available to be discussed, and worst case scenario that you can see it on my YouTube channel, which is why I have the link at Blackboard Ultra, over the weekend. I don't want to penalize anyone for not submitting something exactly on time. Online course management can be extremely fickle, especially when we are incorporating a newer technology. SAU has had some version of Blackboard for a long time, but Blackboard Ultra is new. And I want to make certain that whether it's connectivity or your computer or a video recording platform for your speeches, that you can squeeze out every last minute of research to submit your final product to me. So if I only have a couple technically of wildcard speeches tomorrow, that's okay. I want to make certain that when you send something to me, that you go to your sent email file, you know it's sent, you know that you have sent me a self-evaluation speech critique, and then you can sit back and relax, go to my YouTube channel, see the fruits of your labors. This is not easy. I appreciate the quality of your work. And occasionally I will joke about a mistake I will make. If I ever make a mistake in a long form video like this, 45 minutes in, I'm not going to stop the recording. When I make a mistake, I am usually thinking ahead of a word, and a consonant from that term gets in 2 or 3 words early. Can't do anything about it. In your case, it's more concentrated. Think about for today, the 5 speeches that we watched, all showing considerable improvement in being confident, in being thoughtful, in being knowledgeable, in being personable, in being telegenic, and self-aware of their strengths, weaknesses, perceptions as a public speaker. So for all of you, send me the wild card speech that best exemplifies your professionalism and improvement in this course. We will continue with session 19, technically, wildcard speeches, day 2, tomorrow with a potential bonus session 20 recorded Sunday evening. We'll see where we are. Good luck. As for SPCH 1113, Introduction to Public Speaking for the first summer session of 2024, good luck in your respective preparation processes, and I will do it one more time. You would do it silently, but for the camera and for YouTube and for Blackboard Ultra and for my website, I will do it verbally to officially conclude. 1001, 1002, 1003. And I won't do it tomorrow. We will see you in 24 hours.